Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World Tech Fridays. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday. Thank God it's
It's
Friday.
it's Friday. I'm in
Exactly.
love.
It's been a long, long week.
It has been.
So, who do we got hanging out? We got a
We
few
have
people in the
we have
comments.
Ron of Ron's computer videos. I better say that right. Eric of Eric's Edge, who's also tertiary adjunct, but I think the other tertiary adjunct was a little cuter. Retro Chris.
Jerry Ryan. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And we have Retro Techie. That's fire.
Awesome.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome everyone.
How is
Yeah. Well,
everybody this fine Friday evening? Don't mind me. I'm trying to make a mess here.
so, we've got a few things to talk about today. Hello, Chris L.
And hey, got
Thank you
bomb.
for joining us. Got Bomb. Hello, hello. RetroTech Chris. Hello. Eric. Hello. Retro Techie. Hello.
No. We
Uh,
do not say hello to Retro Techie.
Actually, what I really liked was so so you were like, "Hi, Gut Bomb. Hello, Chris L. Hello, da," and then you're like, "Hey, Retro Techie." We can't say that out loud.
so,
He needs to know. He needs to know his place.
so,
Stop.
so, can we talk about what Trina did last weekend?
um,
Vintage
that's
computing.
that is for the After Dark stream.
That would be the VCF Canada stream,
Yeah.
which doesn't exist yet.
Which due to our more lax laws around sexually explicit content,
That's right. They can talk about it on that channel.
we can talk about
That's
it.
right.
So, a few different things going on. So, VCF West is today and tomorrow. I saw a few people are out that way, it appears.
Is it not?
Zodium.
Does it not wrap up Sunday like the rest of them?
It only says August 4th and 5th.
Oh,
So,
okay.
apparently not. It must just be Friday and
Friday and
Saturday, I
Saturday.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is held at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California. So yeah,
Woohoo.
Friday, August 4th from 10 to 6, Saturday, August 5th, 9 to 5, both Pacific
Yeah,
time, obviously.
right.
So no, just the 2 days.
Yeah, Chris says he doesn't think it's Sunday. I think a church meets there on Sundays, so somebody else probably
Uh,
Oh,
rents the
okay.
space.
Okay.
So
there you go. That makes sense
Well,
then.
there would be the there would be a perfect combination. Computer geeks in church. Come on. You
Well,
could
it
as
you
is.
could do the you could
That's
do the
they did that on
Church of Apples,
Futurama.
right?
What was the one? The
yes,
Robo
the Robo Church of the Binary or the
Church. Yes. What
yeah,
was it? Uh,
cool.
let's see.
But yeah, there's a few of our friends are out there. I noticed that uh, Kate from Macintosh Librarian is out there. Who else I see? I saw a couple more
Zodium.
people post.
So
Zodium,
robotology. That's what it was.
Robotology. Yeah,
Robotology. There you go. Had to look it up.
yeah.
But yeah, Kate's out there. Zodium's out there. I don't know who else was out there. So if you're watching from VCF West, we'd love to hear from you and how things are going and what things look like out that way. It's always
Right.
good to enjoy
Mhm.
these kinds of things through those people that actually can go. DJ Craze, hello. Thanks for tuning in.
And sorry to be a disappointment, DJ Craze.
Yeah, we're not a ham radio channel.
Oh,
Well, for
and no, you can't. Retro Techie.
Trina, what is that place with all the books that you go to that's free to take them out, or it's like
Work.
no. It's like a place that people can go. You can borrow books and use the internet.
I don't
I've
know.
heard of these things.
I don't know what a book is. So
Well, that's obvious.
Only book tree knows his MacBook.
Anyway,
sorry.
So, other than VCF, so we've got a little bit of this day in history as far as tech goes. So, starting with Sunday, which was July 28th, IBM's first desktop computer. They introduced their System 23 Data Master desktop computer only 2 weeks before they introduced their IBM PC,
cool.
which was geared towards small business to use word processing. Um, On Monday, the 29th, it was first trans. Actually, no. So it must have been Saturday, the 28th, right? Because the date doesn't seem to line up. So the 29th would have been.
29th would have been Friday.
Oh, so it went back. Normally, this thing goes pretty accurate
No,
as far as
Saturday. Sorry,
Sunday.
Saturday.
So Saturday was the 29th. So the first test call was made on the newly completed transcontinental telephone line, taking place between New York and San Francisco.
What year was that? Sorry.
That was in 1914.
Okay, yeah, you
July
just said
29th,
you said
1914.
the date.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yes. So the last one, the IBM's first desktop computer, that was 1981.
Right.
And then July 30th, which would have been what, Sunday? Apple
Yes.
begins
Correct.
work on the Lisa, which
What
would become
year?
the world's first 1979.
I'm going to get you to
Apple
say the
begins.
year one of these times.
Normally, I do. Apple begins work on the Lisa, which would be the world's first commercial computer with graphical user interface. Originally intended to sell for around $2,000 and ship in 1981, the Lisa was delayed until 1983 and sells for around $10,000.
Yeah.
So the 31st, first man to drive on the moon, allegedly.
Year?
19. I said 1971.
No, you didn't.
I thought so. Using the battery-powered lunar rover vehicle, astronaut David Scott of the Apollo 15 mission becomes the first person to drive a vehicle on the moon.
Hi, Liam.
Let's
Welcome to the
see.
stream.
Bye, Liam.
Hi, bye. I don't
Hang
know.
on.
Well, this day in history has been interrupted by youngsters.
By people who are not even around.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So, now that we control the system, what shall we do?
Let's end the stream so I can go to bed.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's been a long week.
Yeah.
But I am going on vacation next week, so I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah. When do you leave?
I leave on Wednesday.
Nice. And how long are you going for?
A week. So the following
Oh.
Wednesday, I leave on the 16th. I'll be back, or I leave on the 9th. I'll be back on the 16th.
Wait, what are people in St. John's going to do with all their e-waste? Because normally they just drop it off.
They'll have to hold on to it.
Sorry, the dog's back.
Oh, excellent.
Oh,
So
Hey, Ron.
They grabbed some pizza to
Hi,
go
Ron.
feed the dog to try to catch the dog.
Ah, perfect.
Yep, everybody likes pizza.
Even dog.
So let's see here. August 1st, which would have been Tuesday, 1981. Video Killed the Radio Star. MTV debuts on this day.
And for 4 days they played music, and then they didn't.
Yeah, the rest was
Then the Jersey
reality
Shore
TV.
started.
Yeah. So August 1st, 1986, Apple discontinues production of the Macintosh XL, or the Lisa, the final end of the Lisa.
It was short-lived.
Here we go. So August 2nd, 1873, San Francisco cable car. A Clay Street Railroad begins operation, making it the first cable car in San Francisco's now cable car system. And then here's a popular one, the TRS-80. So in August 3rd, 1977, Radio Shack introduces their first computer, the TRS-80.
Nice. I have one in a box under my desk.
Let's see. August 3rd, 1993, Apple introduces the Newton Message Pad, one of the world's first PDAs. The term PDA was actually first used by CEO at the time, John Scully, in 1992.
Cool.
And then August 4th, NASA launches the Mars Phoenix lander. The Phoenix would be the first spacecraft to land on the Martian Arctic surface. Its mission was to dig for ice and assess if the Martian Arctic could have ever had conditions that supported life. And
Awesome.
that's what we got.
That's this week in history.
That's this week in history, and part of it last week, apparently.
Oh, awesome.
Friday
It's always nice to have some overlap.
Yeah.
Cool.
So who wants to go next?
I guess I will go next if that's okay.
Sure.
So I didn't really have much to talk about this week, but I found out earlier today that one of the Apple ones, as we all are aware, Apple ones, there was about 200 of them. They were produced literally in a garage between with Bill, or Bill, I was gonna say Bill Gates, no, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak built them in garages. About 200 of them were produced overall during its run. One of them is going up for auction this week. It's currently autographed by Steve Wozniak. I'll hold on. Let me share my screen here real quick. Just bear with me a second
Okay.
while I get
Let me make you big.
the chummy started here.
Ba-ba-dum. Make you big.
Here it is. So this fellow is going up for auction. Um, Pretty cool. They're suggesting that it's going to actually sell for around $200,000, but I feel like that number is quite low. Because the previous one, which was a prototype, sold for around $700,000. But I think Apple is just their RetroTech is so hot now.
Mm.
I think it's going to go for a lot higher. And the fact that it's signed by Steve Wozniak, I mean, that doesn't hurt. Um,
What? I assume this is an auction house that's selling it.
yeah, R&R Auction House in
Okay.
Boston. R&R Auction House in Boston. And this unit itself has a somewhat standard history. It was acquired in the early 80s by a hobbyist in Massachusetts. He used it throughout the 80s, and it was brought into an operational state earlier this year by Apple expert Corey Cohen. Um, and apparently it functions. It doesn't say if it comes with a monitor. I don't know if it does, but you might have to provide your own monitor.
Mm.
This auction also includes, which I think is actually probably a cooler thing. Like I like the Apple One, but I think the cooler thing is it includes one of the second check ever signed by Steve Wozniak and Jobs for payment of a bill to a Ramlor Inc., which was a circuit board maker. And a lot of experts think that it was actually linked to the production of the first Apple One computer. So they're suggesting that check is actually going to sell for around $50,000. And again, I think those are very conservative estimates. I think you know stuff like that is going to definitely sell for.
Mhm.
Yeah, it depends. Like whoever's in the audience. Like if you got a
Yeah.
whale that's willing to pay, they'll pay whatever it is. If they really want it, they're going to pay for it. So it all depends. The big thing about Steve Wozniak is that he's still alive. He's still signing stuff. Um, Steve Jobs isn't. So his signature, I think, is far more valuable. So I think the check might actually be um, a much higher number than they're thinking, because Steve Jobs is not around to sign anything anymore. And you know,
Right.
yeah, I see there. Retrotech Chris says he told his wife he thinks he's going to sell for around $300,000, and I said I think it's going to be a lot more. I think it's
Yeah, I
um,
think so as well. Yeah.
because they're coming few and far between. I mean, I watched a video. I think it was it last year or the year before? It might have just been either before COVID or just slightly during COVID. Um, I remember watching a guy bring an Apple One in a secure like lock to his wrist briefcase to get Steve Wozniak to sign the board. And it's obviously if it's that valuable that you have to lock it to your person,
Risks. Yeah.
that's we're not talking about peanuts here. We're talking,
Yeah.
the
We're not talking about the $20 bid that Retrotech wants to make.
right, exactly right.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so RetroTech Chris says he has a clip here somewhere of what people paid for them recently. Yeah, and again, there's such a small, like of those 200 that were produced, how many are actually still around? And then of those
Right.
200 that are still around, how many are actually functional? I think the number is probably, if I was
Yeah.
to guess,
You're starting to do this with the number.
yeah, I'm
Like you
I'm think
started with 200, and then
yeah,
how many are still around? How many still
to
work?
work, yeah. I mean, you're
Yeah.
looking maybe I'm gonna say maybe 15 to 20 functional units in the
Yeah.
world. And then maybe a half dozen or a dozen more probably non-functional units that people found or partially functional like I don't
Yeah. I
know,
mean,
and
you
maybe
might get around like 20 working ones at this
yeah.
point.
And I don't know
Uh,
if like retrotech Chris might know the answer if there's like for example in the classic car industry, groups collect serial numbers so that they have like we can know where like all the Volkswagen Beetles are or all the Volkswagen buses are. There's like a serial um, database. I don't know if they have the same thing for Apple ones if the people are collecting the serial numbers and whether they're functioning and who might own them. If there's some sort of database, I'm not sure. But
You know,
uh, that's one of those things where uh, it's up to the group, I guess, and whether or not the community is active. At this point, I think, yeah, he said there might be a
might be
registry,
one, but he's
but
not
he's not
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and of that, who are buying them? The people that are buying them are likely buying them now as investments, as opposed to people that
Hmm.
are buying them because they're fans or collectors. I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely going to be some that are big collectors. It seems like there might be some of them are truly are collectors and connoisseurs at heart. But a lot of people are also looking at going, well, if I buy this today for $100,000, then in 10
Right.
years it'll be worth $1 million, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty good return on your investment,
That reminds me, I
right?
forgot to buy a lotto ticket for tonight.
Yes, I also have to do that once we're done here. I have to go out and buy one. Um, but yeah, so that I thought that was kind of interesting. They seem to pop up every now and then. The Apple, and it seems, and they talk about in the article there, and I'll share the article with the chat here so you guys can see it. Um, it seems like when you tag Apple to something, it increases its value, and then
Hmm.
you know the other side of it is like, well, Apple's a $3 trillion company now, right? Like they're the first official $3 trillion company. Like that's monumental.
Hmm.
I think there's no other company that's even close to a trillion yet. Maybe Microsoft and maybe Google, but I think they're,
I
they
think
might
I
be.
think Microsoft might come under that,
Yeah.
right?
No, actually, we can't play Powerball in Canada, Chris. We have our own lottery. And fun little side note: lottery winnings in Canada are non-taxable, unlike
Yes.
the United States. So what we win, we get to keep, but we do have to pay tax on the interest. So the smart thing to do is to put your winnings into a high-interest savings account, and
Hmm.
then start a shell company that pays you based on the interest, and then you
Yep.
write and then you pay taxes on the interest, and then you'll never have to work a day in your life. Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, so I think Apple's, and it kind of sucks for us. Like, I'll give you an example. I bought a Macintosh 128. Was one, yeah, 128, and I bought a Macintosh 512 today, or was it a Plus? I don't remember. It's been a very busy week. I would normally pay $50 for both those computers. I ended up paying 120 for one and 150 for the other, because people are coming around to the idea that stuff is worth stuff. And I see, like Sloopy says there, and he says in 40 or 50 years, it's probably not going to be worth as much. I don't know. Like, is the Mona Lisa still worth money? Doesn't matter that Leonardo's been dead, or been
A
dead
few
for
years.
a few more years. Like, I think it's one of those things. We're looking at retrotech not as like a thing to use or a thing to work with or a thing to play on. It's now going to be, it's collected because it's historically valuable, right? Like the idea that it's a part of, and a very important part of our growth as a society. I mean, you think about the last 50 years, how far we've come, and then the 50 years prior to that,
Hmm.
like the timeline between the first manned flight and the first person walking on the moon was less than a generation.
Hmm.
Like, that's profound, right? I think the wheel and and figuring out how to work fire was was probably the closest
Right.
last big thing we figured out, right? Maybe working with iron, but I think that they're going to be viewed more as collectible pieces of history than, oh, I'm collecting that because I remember using it, or I'm collecting that because my dad used to work on one. I think it'll be
And Sloopy, within 40 to 50 years, there might only be one Apple One
right,
left,
right,
or
and
at
yeah,
least
and yeah, there
working, or
there is only
whatever.
one Mona Lisa, but Leonardo da Vinci also produced a plethora of other materials, and
Right.
none of his stuff is like, oh, that's not the Mona Lisa, so it's only worth $5, or I'm going to use that for toilet paper, right? Like, it's yes, it's mass produced, but at 200 units, it's not mass produced. Do I think TSR 80 is going to ever be $1 million computer? Definitely not.
Hmm.
But I could see the Apple One becoming $1 million computer,
Yeah.
right? And we can see with some of, well, it almost did. The prototype one went for 700,000. So, the next time that sells, it's going to be way, way more expensive, right?
I caught the dog.
Oh,
Oh, you did?
nice.
I had to. Yeah, the neighbors were having a hard time. It wouldn't come to them, so I had to take
Did
pizza out, and the dog came to get the pizza, so I was able to grab the collar. So yeah, so they took it home.
Nice, nice.
Ay, ay.
So, did you want to go next, or did you have a topic?
I have something I need to talk.
No, go ahead.
I take an exception to Retro Techie's comment, saying that I have money to flaunt. I don't have money to flaunt. I'm really warm, and I don't know. I don't know.
All he's missing is his monocle and his top hat.
Right?
I told the
or diving into the
Scrooge
the
McDuck
pool
tank.
of
Yeah.
exactly, the pool of gold.
I told the workers they could get an extra shilling a
Oh
week.
wow, look at that.
Right.
Hang on, I'm gonna share something that Chris posted on Discord.
Okay.
Let me see here. Present. Share screen. Discord.
DJ Craze, the Tandy 1400 is worth a good $25. So you hold on to that, because in
Canadian.
50 years,
25
that'll be worth a
Canadian.
good $25.
Oh, pickles.
Oh.
Ah, there you go.
What's this? What's this?
What
That
it?
is
Thing in the air.
the picture that Chris posted that shows how much an Apple One cost.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm
Enhance.
going to. I tried, but it
Enhance.
doesn't let me do it any.
Did you type on the
further.
keyboard while saying enhanced?
I talked to it very sternly.
Okay.
So, 1976 introductory price 4K was $666. 1977 price reduction with the Apple II introduction, $475. 2000 number 12 Ray Brill sold for $14,000.
Okay.
In 2009, number 41 Frank Anderson's board sold for $50,000. In 2010, same Frank Anderson board sold for $228,000.
Mr. Anderson.
A year later, the same board. Yeah, so in 2013, board number 37 sold for $387,750. 2014, number 19 board, John Anderson at the Henry Ford Museum, $905,000. 2016 board number 75 Celebration sold for $815,000. And in 2019 board number 10 Rick Conti at System Source Museum sold for $475,000.
And so the one they don't have here is the prototype that sold like in 2021, I think it was, or 2022. That sold for $700,000.
Thanks for sharing, Chris, by the way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, he just sent a cropped version.
Too slow on the Photoshop skills there.
There we go. Hang on, let me see. Present. Share. Discord. Allow. There we go. So there's the pricing each one sold for, and the number on the registry.
Mm-hmm.
Retro Techie says, I sold a 2008 MacBook once for $40. What big deal.
And that's the thing, not just Apple One, but there's a lot of other things out there. It's the same thing with cars and things like that. It's only worth what people are willing to pay for it.
Well,
if there's a collector.
To give you an example, the Ferrari GT 240, it's like a famous Ferrari. 20 years ago, you could have picked one up for 50 grand.
Yep.
Now they're worth about $25 million. So
it's like the 67 Impalas that they used on Supernatural.
Yeah, you can't get them anywhere because they destroyed them all in Canada.
So many, on the
same
thing
with
of these things.
Same thing with the Dukes of Hazzard. You can't get a good Dukes of Hazzard Charger. or
anyone
Challenger,
that you
sorry.
find now is worth buku bucks
Yeah.
because there just
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
many anymore.
Subi says the same thing with the Aston Martin
Yep,
DB5. Yep. Again,
absolutely.
20, 25 years ago, you could have picked one up for 25, 30 grand, and
Yep.
now they're worth $2 and $3 million, right? Like, so there
So
are
yeah,
actual people who like jokingly figure out what's going to be worth stuff,
sure.
and actually
Mm.
that's their investment,
Yeah.
right? So
96 Acura Legend. That's
I
funny.
mean,
But it's the same thing with anything, you know. Same thing with now that a lot of people are doing videos on retro computing.
yeah,
Look at the price on the market on anything that
yeah.
people write retro next to it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they want
and
crazy amounts of money. Or
like
vintage.
vintage, yeah, and and eBay's got it ruined because people think it's on eBay, it's what it's sold for, but it's like no, it
Yes,
didn't actually
yes.
sell for that. It's
You
so
know,
sometimes you have to educate, and eBay
yeah.
itself inflates the price like any auction house
Oh, they do.
takes.
Mhm.
Like our local auction house takes federal tax, which is 15%,
Hmm.
or federal and provincial tax, which is 15%. Plus, they take a seller's fee or buyer's fee of
Yep.
16%. So you're essentially paying double tax
Yes.
for an
Yes.
item, right? So on
The,
top of your price, you have to realize you're paying
yep.
30%.
That's the
Mhm.
same thing. That's the same thing here. Any auction you go to, there's a buyer's premium, a seller's
Yep.
premium. You know,
Yep.
so it is what it is.
Right. But
But
that's when people say, "Oh, but it's on eBay for $200." I'm like,
yes,
"Yeah, but eBay is going to take 65 of those $200 and keep them for themselves. So
sure.
realistically, it's really only worth 204 or $140,
Mhm.
and I don't want to pay $140 for it. I will give you 100.
Hmm.
You don't have to ship it. You don't have to deal with anybody on eBay. I will give you $100 right now.
Right.
But some people are dumb and don't understand that,
Yeah,
honestly,
they
because
don't.
I've run into that
Mhm.
before where they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh no, but I'll get 200." But you're doing all this extra work, packaging,
yeah.
shipping,
Right.
taking time
Taking
out to do all
time.
this stuff.
Mhm.
Hey, if you don't value your time, nobody else will.
Yes.
So crazy, crazy,
I
crazy,
have
crazy.
a button over here, by the way, to wake Trina up if she falls
That's
asleep.
right.
I'm not
Shocky
asleep.
monkey.
I'm
It's
listening to you guys.
it's 75,000 volts right to the back of her head. You know the
Shocky button.
port in the Matrix on the back of the head. It's one of
Right.
those.
Yeah. I'm plugged in. I'm
All
good.
right,
She's
but yeah,
jacked
so
in.
I think retro tech will always have its ebbs and flows, but I think as people become more and more nostalgic,
Hmm.
because that's really what drives the market. So the people that would have used the original Apple or the Apple II,
Yep.
they're getting to the age now that they're 45, 50 years old. Kids are probably either going to be moving out soon or already have, or they're trying to they're old enough that they can actually have a an intelligent relationship with them so that they can say, hey, this is what I used to use when I was a kid. So you're going to see the price of that
Well,
kind of stuff go up because people want to buy it and they have the disposable cash to do it now that they maybe didn't have when they were in high school or when they were in
Right.
a
elementary school.
large factor in this now too is that a lot of people overlook. A lot of the people who actually have these are retired teachers
Right.
that ended up getting them from the school district when they
Yep.
were getting rid of them or whatever. But as these
Mhm.
people get older or pass on, a lot of this stuff's hitting the market, and
Well,
at some point that's going to run out too.
All
I
right.
got
So
some I got some good.
that's a good segue into my topic.
Can I make one little segue to your segue?
Okay.
A message from our sponsor. Sorry. We were just gonna have to go to a Build Redux or some like
Yeah,
Squarespace advertisement.
rack
Uh,
space.
no. I have eyes on the ground at the Apple School this weekend.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I knew it was
So
coming up at some point soon.
my
Ooh.
recon. Dear God, Trina, it's a techno
Oh, it's
disco
it's
lights
it's
show.
it's the webcam. It's dying. I need to get a new one. I'm going to be going tomorrow, I think, and buying a new one
It's
before
a
Dave's
rave.
stream.
Hopefully, none of our viewers are epileptic.
Trina, Trina,
Yeah.
suffer through it. Suffer through it and buy the Anchor webcam that I suggested.
Yes,
It's phenomenal, and
Send
it's
me
that's
a
what
worth
I
the
got.
do me
it's
a
worth the
favor.
$50.
Send me a link to it.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So I have eyes on the ground. My partner in
Awesome.
crime for this heist is going to be out in that community visiting some family members. So he's going to make his way over there and see if he can't get some eyes on the prize. And hopefully, who knows? I may end up having several dozen, if not more,
Hmm.
Apple IIs. So
That'd be awesome. So
well,
yeah, we'll stay tuned. We'll see what
that'll
happens.
that'll fund my bus. I'll just start selling them on eBay, fixing them up, selling them on eBay, and start funding my bus project.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stuff that bus.
Well, maybe not stuffing. But yeah, so that would have been a great segue then to Trina's
Yeah,
topic
Trina.
she wants to talk about, but then she
Yeah.
decided to piss off and go somewhere else.
Well, no, I'm still here. The flickering got to me, so I'm like, I'm just gonna stop my camera. But I'll try it.
Trina, turn a light on where you are.
I have two lights
It's
on
trying.
beside
It's
me.
trying to autofocus.
No, this thing is dying. When I did the retro repair roundup the
Okay, Trina,
last
unplug
time.
it and plug it back in.
All right, hold on.
There's a
Unplug it.
there's a poor
See,
capacitor
look,
in there.
now it's fine.
Yeah, see, when
I
you don't
think
have
you're
your
right.
face,
It is trying to focus.
Oh, maybe. All right, well, let's do this then. I'll turn off my lights.
Are you afraid of the dark? There you go.
No, that sucks.
are you
Turn
gonna
on
are you
one.
gonna give us? I was gonna say, are you gonna reach
That's better.
like list of demands you want?
That's right.
Yeah, right. Let's try to.
Trina, how many magazines do you have that you can cut little letters out and make
Yeah.
letters?
Do you want to play a game?
All right,
Okay,
let
so what's
me
your topic?
let me present first, and then we'll
Present
Present them.
arms.
share screen. Oh, Linda, why
Linda.
aren't you letting me?
Listen, Linda.
Do. Why isn't it letting me
All right.
share?
While Trina's trying to figure her stuff out, I'm gonna vent. I hate when people post stuff on Marketplace for sale and have no price listed and then say make me an offer.
Oh, isn't that
That is
crazy?
annoying.
Drives me absolutely batty.
Okay,
So, oh my god, the paradox.
I know. Hang on, I'm trying to find.
Paradox.
Ta-da! I can't seem to share out just the Finder window,
No, you can't.
which is so
If
annoying.
you had OBS, you could, but
Oh.
not in StreamYard.
Okay, so let's make this big. Is that better? 'Cause
Yeah,
I can't see what's behind it.
Grande.
So my
fine.
topic is e-waste
Awesome.
and how a lot of people are throwing things just, especially now. So like, I had a friend
look
who
at
said,
that.
"Oh, I'm looking for an iPad," and I said, "Oh, we got two of them sitting at work. I'll check." And so I checked today what the story is with them, and apparently they were left behind by family members of some patients, and they tried to contact them, couldn't get in contact with them, and because they're newer, they're duds. Like you can't do anything with them
No,
because you
they're
need to
completely
know
locked
the
down.
old, yeah, they're locked because you don't know the old information. You can factory reset them, but that's as far as you can get with them.
Wonder if you could take it like to those people in the kiosks in the mall that like hack your
No,
stuff.
no, trust me. There's people out there who say, "Oh, we can unlock it." They're lying to you.
Spammers.
Yeah,
They can unlock it, but as soon as you do the first update, it relocks itself.
yeah. So
What's his name? John Bumsfeld did a Bumsfeld
Bumstead.
did a great has a great bunch of great talks about e-waste.
right.
But yeah, like there needs to be something like Apple specifically, because they're really the ones causing the most grief here, needs to
Mhm.
have
Yes.
the ability to have some functionality that through a web form or through a call-in service or through a verified that you're not a scoundrel,
Sure.
uh,
Right.
to be able to unlock a device that's not been
Mhm.
reported stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
So this first picture is off of Reddit. This is what got me thinking about it tonight. Was I don't know where this person found it because they haven't replied. Somebody asked if it was from BCF West. So I'm not sure where they're getting this stuff from, but I mean, a lot of this would just end up on the curb
Yep.
or at an e-waste place.
Yep.
And then today we had Sean of Action Retro. Let's give him a shout out. Posted these photos. All
Ooh,
the
that's
stuff was
nice.
all
Look at
the stuff was yeah.
the
So
one on the
he
left there.
a
Yeah.
friend's grandmother, father, I can't remember, um, had passed away,
Yeah,
and
and it's all going to be thrown out.
this was all going to be thrown out.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
that
sad.
one.
Those are awesome.
There's a second photo here. This is the back of it. Like monitors, another couple,
That's
and
really cool.
then right, and then there's the third photo. I just saved these photos quickly tonight, and this is
Now that looked like an Apple TV.
It is. There's two Apple TVs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's the very hard to find Apple TV keyboard in black.
Yep.
Ta-da. Yeah. So there was 3 keyboards and 1 mouse
Yep,
for the Apple TVs. Because Sean mentioned it on my stream earlier.
he did.
But
Yes.
yeah, it's like I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So there you go. But like, and also like at work, because we're moving buildings,
Hmm.
we're just throwing software left, right, and center. Like that's not even a fraction of what I got. But I went through it and saved a lot of the stuff that wasn't patient information,
Yeah.
like burnt discs. Um, it's just we throw so much out. I see it at work all the time. Oh, just take the computer, turf it out. It's got a bad CPU fan.
Yeah, and
Let's
just
just
just to
replace the
mention,
CPU fan.
DJ Craze there says, "Oh yeah, you just got to desolder a chip and write out zeros to it, and then put it back in and don't update it." For you or me or Frank or
Hmm.
maybe Trina, that seems fairly logical. But if I was to give that to my mom, the first time it popped up and said, "Hey, there's an update available," she'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, update,"
Yeah,
Yep.
even if I told her not to.
and it's like
Yep.
that. We were talking tonight. So there's somebody selling a MacBook Air 2020
Right.
with a broken screen, but fortunately, the screen's not too broken. Which I'm trying to see if I can buy, but they haven't replied back on Facebook Marketplace. Speaking of annoyance in Facebook Marketplaces, buyers or sellers that never reply back to you.
Yep.
Like, anyway, um,
And it's annoying.
but if I replace the screen on it, apparently I lose the functionality of the webcam.
Yeah. If you don't replace it with
Like,
an official like proper Apple screen.
no, it's from what John was saying,
Yeah.
it does a search for like
Part
apparently
number.
the screen has a serial number, the computer
Yep.
has a
Hmm.
serial number, and they're tied together. And if you break that tie, you
You lose
you
functionality.
you lose
In the
functionality.
screen, you lose the microphone and the webcam.
Hmm.
But that being said, for something like that, what I would do is I'd take that MacBook Air, I
Yeah,
would liberally apply some duct tape to it and attach it to the back of a 27-inch monitor, and then turn it
Yep.
into a iMac, Mac Mini, whatever you want to call
Desktop.
it.
well,
Whatever.
I was going to use it to replace my 2012 MacBook Pro, which is starting to kind of
Get
they're nice
long.
laptops, but they're starting to get along in the tooth.
Yep.
I'm not going to get rid of it. It'll be a great
Hmm.
backup machine,
Yeah.
but this would I don't know. I'm not sure if it's an M1, and that's what I want to ask the person if they reply back to. Is it available?
Yeah.
I want to ask what the next question is. What's the
Ah,
specs? Because there's
and
no
now,
specs.
sorry, I have to also interject. DJ Cray says, "Oh, how I love my Dell, my Lenovo, and HP. I have none of those problems." Aha, yet. Dell is officially going down the route of their own proprietary RAM again, and they're also looking at doing well. They already have all soldered components for solid state drives. Some Dells offer RAM as soldered as well. So
And
are
also,
are they
so
if
I
Apple? But
know,
here's the thing: if Apple's doing it and getting away with it, you can guarantee Dell, Hewlett Packard, and even
well, H
Microsoft are going to do that as well.
about 5 6 years ago, a friend of mine brought me her laptop to because the drive died basically,
Yep.
and it's a $300 HP laptop with 4 gigs of RAM soldered onto the motherboard.
Yep.
So they've been doing it for a while,
Yep.
right? Cheap laptops out there that people go, oh, it's $300. Oh, goody, goody, goody. It's garbage.
Yeah,
Throw
it
it
is.
out.
And you're right. And that's the problem is we've created e-waste.
Yeah.
So this is
And
what I
there
don't
we're
understand.
back to
I understand people having certain means. You can't afford to go and pay $1,200 or $1,400 for
right.
a new
Hmm.
machine. However, if you spend $200 on a new machine or $300 on a new machine, that machine is definitely not going to last you
No.
the
Yep.
same length as something that's new that maybe has extra bit of RAM. And actually, it's funny, not to constantly talk about LTT here, but um, they did a video recently about how Apple's basically forces you to either spend more money when you first purchase your computer because you have to get the better version,
Yep.
or be tied to a computer that is going to actually be less functional because you couldn't afford to pay for the upgrades. And the
Right.
upgrades that
Apple
they
tax.
provide and the Apple tax on the upgrades, like they went like to go from 8 gigs of RAM to 16 gigs of RAM is $200.
Mhm.
Show me where 8 gigs of RAM is $200. I'll wait. Right? Same thing with the storage. To go
I
from
Yeah.
got
one,
I got 8 gigs of RAM in my hand. Somebody want to give me $200? I'll gladly
right?
take it.
And that's sort of like the funniness of it is that Apple is doing this. So but back in the day, you could say buy the cheaper Apple,
Yeah,
right, and then upgrade it in
like
3 years,
my 2012 MacBook
right?
Pro. Right.
Hmm.
Upgrade
You
it
could
in
upgrade the memory. Yeah.
memory or upgrade the storage or whatever, and you get a little bit more time out of it. Now,
Yeah.
what Apple's doing is either you spend more money up the front and kind of get reamed for it, or you buy the cheaper one and you'll be replacing it sooner, which is better for Apple, but
Yep.
again, creating
Absolutely.
e-waste.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm not one for government regulations, but this seems like one of those things where
It
someone
may
needs
be
to
a benefit.
say,
Yeah.
"Hey
Yeah.
guys." Like that's why I like the is it the one that Linus bought into the laptop company.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
um,
They're the customizable ones.
yeah, you basically build it like
Uh,
it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
create e-waste, right? Like you want a new graphics card, you just take the graphics card out. You want a is it
Right.
Foundation? No, framework laptops.
there you go.
There you
Framework
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
laptops.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like,
yeah,
gosh darn, what's
Yeah, I
right.
going
Like
on?
remember. I
that's a
remember
brilliant
a
idea.
friend of mine showing that with me on Facebook a while ago.
But the
Yeah.
funny
Well,
thing is HP started to do that.
yeah.
HP has a specific line of the Envy for business that are 100% modular, and I'm like,
Now,
that's brilliant.
Framework also has their own essentially ecosystem. They have a marketplace of everybody else selling their old Framework parts
Right,
for
right.
Right.
So
somebody who might be just getting into it
yeah, or
that you
like
can't afford
if
to
you
get the
bought a
full discount.
framework and you didn't get a graphics card at the
Yep.
time, you only had the onboard. Well, you can buy
Yep.
somebody's old GT, 3060 when they get rid of it because that person upgraded to a 4060,
Yep.
right? So
But it's really cool.
yeah, so yeah, e-waste is a huge issue, and I'm also leery of any like recycling in certain forms doesn't work. I think reusing stuff is a way more functional way of recycling.
Sure.
Because you see where most of the stuff ends up. It ends up in Africa and China and the Middle East and the Asian countries, basically just being burned on beaches to
Yep.
retrieve precious metal and other
Mhm.
type of materials. So like I live on an island, and recycling for our province actually is bad because the carbon footprint of our recycling product of our being
Hmm.
able to recycle stuff so everything has to be shipped off the island.
Right.
So right off the bat, you've added extra carbon input because the thing had to be converted into some sort of, we'll say, cube of aluminum, we'll say, and then shipped off the island.
Yep.
Right. So like environmentally, that's now even more damaging than just putting it in the
Mhm.
ground. Right. So there's some. And the same thing, we have tires here we have a gigantic tire reserve in the middle of the province because we can't do anything with them because they're too expensive to ship off the island, and we have no way to recycle them on the island. So anyway,
Well,
we're,
just start burning them.
oh yeah, the Springfield tire fire that was
Right.
it's only been burning for 32 years. It'll be fine.
It'll be grand.
But yeah,
But
I mean, we need to, as a society, we need to look at Apple and not only Apple. Like I said,
but
HP had created like she's
Yep.
like, oh, can we
Well,
upgrade this to 8 gigs of RAM because it's a bit slow? And I'm like, oh, for sure. And then because I had opened it up, took the drive out, found out the
yeah,
drive was toast, so I ordered another drive because it was one of the slim
yeah,
versions of like a laptop drive. So I had to order the specific drive for it. Um, and then I'm like, oh yeah, no, we can totally upgrade this. And then I take it off and I'm like, well, where the hell's the memory slots? And I'm like, oh, it's soldered on.
so great example is here in the U.S. We're having a big problem with this right now, especially here in like New York. When schools were forced to go remote during COVID,
right,
schools
Hmm.
weren't prepared, so they just bought a crap ton of Chromebooks because they were super cheap and they can get them out fast to all the
Right?
students and staff, so they can do remote learning. Well, it's coming back to bite them in the butt now because these Chromebooks are so cheap that they break easily. They're not
yeah,
upgradable. They're having problems with them because they don't really go through wear and tear very well. They don't hold up. So
Well,
now
to
there's all
start
this
with,
e-waste.
Chromebooks to start with are pieces of
Oh yeah,
garbage to
absolutely.
start with. I mean,
But
right off
but
the shelf, they're garbage.
but these schools had no
sorry.
idea to expect
I,
or
I, I
budget
got I
for
got
this.
I got to
No.
interject there. base model Chromebooks are pieces of garbage. 100%. The middle row, the $500+ ones.
Yeah, but a lot of the
I have
schools
Yeah,
teachers on
don't want
those,
to pay
the
for
and they're
schools
that.
fine.
probably went with
Oh, the
They
schools
went
definitely
with
went
Maybe,
with
whatever
yeah,
was the
yeah,
cheapest
yeah,
because
for sure.
they had to get them fast and out to the students to do the remote learning
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
unexpected and it wasn't planned.
So for again, I work at a school. So one of the things that we do, DJ Craze, they're made to be e-waste.
Mhm.
However, we buy extra of them, and I fix them because a lot of schools just throw them out and give the kid a new one,
Yeah.
right?
right.
Or they just
Well,
toss them. I will take them and I will take a screen off.
here
I'll
locally,
replace the
you can go on
keyboard.
Craigslist and buy lots of 10 or 20 for like 15, $20. I'm not
Yeah.
even kidding.
Oh
Like
wow.
they're that cheap. People are just getting rid of
Yeah,
them.
and the big thing
Yeah.
about the Chromebooks, the worst part about before the pandemic, and there was actually an investigation about this because there were companies selling Chromebooks to school districts
Hmm.
that were 6 years old
Yes.
because they were just left overstock, and the school districts
Mhm.
didn't realize that they were no longer supported by Google. So when they
Yep.
bought these things, they opened them up, they went to put them on their Google accounts. The Google accounts was like, no, this is expired. Like it's
Right.
no good anymore. So then Google actually came out and said, "Listen, what we're going to do now is anything made after 2020 will get a minimum of 8-year run." Which, in fairness,
Mhm.
8 years for a machine
That's a long time
is
for
a
a
long
cheap
time.
That's
machine.
a decent time. Yeah.
I don't think Apple does that, right? Like I think,
No.
right? Like,
No, you can only extend Apple Care a couple times.
but I'm thinking just even the software support, right? Like Apple,
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's what Google offers now is the fact that they'll guarantee updates and security patches for your
Hmm.
machine for a minimum or maximum of 8 years. So, yes, it's e-waste, but the other side of it is kids need to be taught how to properly take care of something, and I get thinking
Mm.
that they don't necessarily get taught that,
No, a lot of these kids don't care.
right? So, it is what it is.
They get
Um,
dropped to and from school. They
yeah,
get dropped on the bus, at home, wherever.
Mhm.
yeah. And that's the other thing too. A lot of the districts didn't provide bags for them. They didn't
Nope.
provide any sort of like
Right.
sleeves. So that's something that I think for a little bit extra, cost could
Yep.
definitely save down the road. But the big thing is you buy a couple of spares, and take them apart. I took the monitors off. I keep them in a drawer. So
Because
when someone comes in with one
I
broken,
remember getting Chromebooks in before the pandemic. People would
Hmm.
sell them to me, and trying to flip them for any kind of profit was and these were
no,
working.
no,
Yeah.
you don't flip them
Nightmare
for
to sell a
profit.
Chromebook.
No, you don't flip them for profit. They are a consumption device. They are literally,
Yep.
the pads they use on Star Trek.
Hmm.
That's what they are. They are a consumption device. They are for looking at and going, and then it broke. Well, I'll fix it. Or it broke. Recycle.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah.
Well, that's the
Right.
thing too. Nobody does component level diagnostic anymore.
No.
Yeah,
Like, oh, the board's bad. Replace the board.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Like Chris says there, we had a lot of Chromebooks with broken chargers. The charging USB, we only have USB-C Chromebooks
Hmm.
now, and a lot of the times we've had a couple of the kids pop them off. Right, they tripped over 'em or whatever while they were plugged in, and
Yep.
the USB-C. But most schools would just go, okay, new board. But I literally would just sit down. I got a little bag of USB-C, uh, service
Connectors.
mount connectors, and
Yep.
solder it on, and here you go.
But
Hmm.
how many people or how many school boards or school districts or schools have people who are going like have people like you that can
Yeah.
solder?
That
But see,
even
You
can do
know,
that.
they
Yeah.
should have people like me.
they
That's
should,
You would think.
so they
Yeah.
have people that
but
will go and fix the snow blowers. And they have people that will go and fix the toilets.
I
The
remember
problem is tech. Tech has always been much like music and art has always been the third class citizen, right? It was
Oh
mhm,
always
yeah.
like the first out and the first one totted up when there's a bit of money.
So I
But
knew a school district that actually one of the custodians learned how to fix the computers, and
yeah,
he ended up being the director of IT years later
yeah,
oh wow.
because there was nobody that knew how to do anything.
yeah. Like
But
in
I
my
knew
case, I work in a private school, so
Hmm.
yeah.
I'm just the person in the
The
private school.
person. Yeah.
But in the public system here, there's one of me for every 10 schools, maybe eight
Yeah.
schools.
I was just about
All
to
right, and it
say
could take like I have friends who are teachers out in the public system. It could take 3 weeks before something's fixed in their school.
Hmm.
All right, question.
yeah. I just well every time I try to talk, Ryan's like blah blah blah
Well,
blah blah blah.
you didn't
Blah.
put your hand up. The
Yeah, I
teacher.
know. Well, that's you know. Um, I remember a friend of mine worked in the school board in Moncton, and they cut one summer like after school was done, they came in and cut the department in half, and
Yeah.
she was one of the ones let go.
Yep.
And they still had to look after the same amount of schools, the same amount of students,
Yep.
right? With half the
See,
people.
our school district got rid of people, and then they had one person for the county
Oh
Yeah.
that went to
Jesus!
all 5 school districts.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep, because they paid into like a consortium that
Right.
managed all of them.
That
Yeah,
reminds
because it was
that
cheaper than
reminds me
paying the
of
people.
so in the early to mid 2000s in the UK, the KFC decided to go with a cheaper chicken company to
Hmm.
provide chicken for their stores. I don't know why they did this because shortly after they were running out of chicken. Because,
Well,
apparently the
that
company just wasn't prepared
that
for the
happened
influx.
last year here in the U.S. because everybody started coming out with chicken sandwiches. Like
Right.
you had Popeyes that already did chicken,
Right.
Yep.
and then KFC decided they wanted to do an actual chicken sandwich, like a big chicken sandwich like Popeyes. And
Hmm.
then you had Burger King who did the Chick-King, and then McDonald's
McDonald's,
came out with their big chicken sandwich, so everybody was competing. So then there wasn't enough to go around.
KFC was another one. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Retrotech Chris just says he checked with his kids. They send the Chromebooks out to get fixed. So obviously they're sent to like a depot, probably with the district,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then the district fixes them, and then redistributes them out to the schools, I guess, either
Yeah,
as they get so
that
many
makes
in there,
sense.
right? But yeah, again, there's no reason. It's no different than if you were issuing kids regular laptops. They're going to break
$5
them.
since they probably are MAM, or they just like they don't actually repair them.
Could be that they just go
Yeah.
back to. But
Yeah,
again, this is part of the system that creates
surplus.
e-waste, right? Like if they had a mandate, if the district or the state or the county, whoever has to do the thing, if they had a mandate to be as minimal when it comes to production of garbage, basically, they'd do a better job of making sure that they can recycle stuff. Like
Hmm.
very little goes out of my school gets thrown out that I don't first look at and go, okay, can I find a home
Yeah.
or can I find a better use for this?
Right. I wish I
Like,
could do that with where I work, but
yeah.
Hmm.
my hands are kind of tied. It's
And again, there's some like privacy policies, but I always work on the
yeah.
principle too that I always haul the hard drives out of everything and
Well, that's
destroy
it.
them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Then nobody can be like, oh, there's you could get stuff off the RAM. I'm like, boys, if you want to super cool that RAM that's been unplugged now for about 6 months and try to pull some data off it,
Right.
you deserve to get whatever Word document that teacher was working
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
um, I know there was a big thing here several years back about hard drives and zero and copiers because they
Yeah.
would store an image
Yep.
on the hard drive of every single thing that was scanned or copied on the machine.
Correct.
And you would have scammers go out and they'd go through the landfills, picking through this stuff, pulling the hard drives to see if they could pull any personal data or anything
Yep.
that can make them some money.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Funny.
everything that goes out with us, hard drives are cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Retro Techie says Pizza Hut. Most of the
So
Pizza Huts here have closed.
we're getting a new
They're
one.
going
They
out of
just they're just
business.
they're just about to open another one here in St. John. They all closed here in Newfoundland,
All of them
and
here are going out of business.
Yeah, they're same here.
apparently they're reopening a bunch. So
Yeah. Well, they're all leaving here and going to your place, apparently. Nobody here
apparently
wants pizza.
it's pretty terrible pizza, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
The only thing that used to be good there was they used to have a buffet.
Yes, that
I
was.
remember those
And on
days.
your birthday, it was free.
Yep.
Yeah.
In
Right.
elementary school, we used to do the books, the reading thing, and they
Yes.
give you the little paper slips,
Yep.
and you get so many, you get the first personal pan pizza.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
I would concur. I think the best American pizza chain is probably, and it's terrible to say because they're a crazy Catholic family, but Papa
Papa John's.
John's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we order
Right.
from Papa John's a lot.
I
Very
think
good.
they got really big, but kept some of their quality.
Well,
Yeah, but that's gone downhill in the last few years.
I think this is a good point to cut it off.
Book it. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Book it.
Yeah, the Pizza Hut thing with the books where you
Oh
read
yes,
from
yeah,
the
book it.
pizza.
Yeah, yeah,
Book it.
yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Anyway,
Awesome.
yes,
But yes,
it's
we're
it's been
close to
about an
the hour
hour,
mark.
so
Yep.
I think we'll cut it
And we're
not
talking
short.
about food at this point, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to come out and hang out afterwards is more than welcome. We'll post the
Yes,
link
link
for the
here in the
thingies.
chat. I can put the link in the chat.
Yep. And then we'll go ahead and say goodnight.
So
Oh
before I
my
guess we
goodness.
say goodnight, do you want to go around? Is there anything anybody's working on, or any new toys that have come in that you want to talk about?
I will be talking about a new toy this Sunday at 8 p.m. on the Retro Repair Roundup
Oh, that's not
Now,
the stream I thought you
here
were
on
going to say.
YouTube. Oh, what stream did you think I was going to say? Which one?
I don't
Pick
know.
one. I only have like 5 of them on the go.
I know, right?
Which one am I on tonight?
I had a few new things come in this week. One of them being
Surprise, surprise.
this
Ah, the
Tam.
Tam.
ooh,
Except I don't like the built-on trackpad, so I hooked up a real mouse.
See, it's funny.
It was annoying me.
Every time I see a Tam with that keyboard, I
Mhm.
think that somebody's just ripped the top off a laptop,
Oh yeah, that's
right?
exactly
And
what
Well,
it
it's
looks like.
stuck it to a monitor. And then
well,
I'm
that's all.
like, oh, it's a
That's
Tam.
all the TAM is. It's a PowerBook, what,
It is.
140 or something,
Yeah, yeah.
or a 180.
Yeah, so the screen in mine was replaced. It's got 4 hours of use on it right now.
Nice.
It came from an Apple service depot in Germany.
Okay,
The
so
screen.
quickly, because this is the second time Retro Techies asked me. My weekend was amazing. I went down to a friend's cottage, spent the weekend, had basically next to no internet, and had a great time.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
And she worked on her O face.
Went out on a paddle boat.
That's not the
Did
only thing
some
that got paddled.
did some flog. Um, is the word. But yes, so there you go. Had a bonfire Saturday night.
Well, my favorite story about the TAM, to bring it back around here, is when Steve Jobs was given one at his return, because
And
it
threw
was
it in the
announced.
trash.
He literally just
Backstage.
dropped it by the garbage by the backstage, still new in box.
Yep. Yeah, the Tam only lasted for 9 months and was
Yeah, well,
discontinued.
he came back in just as it
Yeah.
was coming out, so I think it was
What's
kiboshed.
what's hilarious is the starting price was $7,500,
Yeah,
and it was expensive at the time. So
Oh,
what Apple did is they had a guy that came to your house to personally deliver it. He wore a tuxedo, and it came in a limousine.
I remember. Yeah,
what year did it come out? 96?
97, I think.
yeah. I was gonna say
7.
97, 98, wasn't it?
Um,
In that range.
but what's funny is so the
Hold
starting
on.
price was
Just one, just one
$7,500.
sec. Chris, RetroTech Chris, because I think we have like 3 Chris's in the chat.
Yes.
RetroTech Chris, what year did the TAM come out officially? Please and thank you. Or Eric
Um,
might know.
It was
so
96.
so anyway, it started at $7,500 and it had the fancy delivery and all that kind of stuff. And when Steve Jobs said he wanted to get rid of it, they dropped the price down to
98.
$1,900 to sell off the remaining stock. $1,900. So it went from $7,500 to $1,900, and all the people that paid $7,500 were rightfully pissed about
Yeah,
the
of
price
course.
drop. So Apple gave them free laptops.
Oh wow.
Everybody that paid full price for their TAM when they bought it, Apple would give them a free laptop.
Okay.
97, sorry.
Yep, they got a free PowerBook.
So $7,500 in 1997 was equivalent to
Mhm.
$13,027 today.
Jesus.
But yeah, which is why it got the fancy delivery
Yeah.
and the bow tie. You know, the
Well, by
guy showed up
honestly,
in a tux.
for that amount of money, it should make me a sandwich and mow the lawn.
Do a
Well, we
few
don't
other
know what
things.
the guy
Yeah.
did once he got there for the delivery, so he could have made you a sandwich and mowed your lawn. I don't know.
He might
I
have
would-
done a
think
few.
it's, I
I
just
really
think
hope
it's
his name was
interesting.
Ask Jeeves or just Jeeves, so you can ask
That's
him.
probably what the whole search engine was
Yeah.
based on.
Or
So,
the
yeah.
delivery is based on.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But yes. So anyway, so long, farewell, visas a good night.
Yes. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yep.
And do all that good stuff. Share this with your friends so we get out there
Yes.
more.
Yep.
Yes.
Friends don't let friends buy Microsoft.
Right. Are you going
At
to
least
end the
not full price.
Are you ending the broadcast or am
I am.
Oh,
Have
okay.
a good night, everyone.
And scene.